Hi, I'm Jane Hornstein, and I'm the director of the Special Applications Center in the Office of Public and Housing Investments.
I'm Chad Ruppel. I'm with the Office of Field Operations in Public and Indian Housing.
So we're going to talk to you today about Section 18 demolitions and dispositions. To give you a little bit of background, Section 18 is Section 18 of the U.S. Housing Act of 1937, as amended in 1998, and it removes the one-for-one public housing replacement requirements provides broad authority to public housing authorities to demolish or dispose of public housing. So you will often hear referrals of Section 18 is commonly referred to as demo and dispo. In 2012, the SAC issued a PIH Notice 2012-707, and that emphasized that we would only dispose of property if it was physically obsolete. In 2018-04, we've now expanded, and we're trying to open this up a little bit so that there are other ways that make sense to dispose of or demolish public housing property. All applications are reviewed by the Special Applications Center. So what happens under Section 18? So essentially what we're trying to do with this is we're removing public housing from your annual contributions contract, your ACC, and from PIC, the Public Information Center, and then also it would remove the declaration of trust on all the property. So it's not so easy, but it's what we're trying to do with this. Tenant protection vouchers are issued to all families that have been in the units. Any unit that has been occupied within the last 24 months gets a tenant protection voucher. You also will get what we call asset repositioning fees, and that's the phase out of the operating fund, demolition and disposition transition funding. So it's also, and that's the capital fund. You keep your fair cloth authority, and that basically there's an upper cap on how many units, public housing units, any housing authority can maintain. So even if you reduce the number of units you have physically, you can still develop new under that authority. So that's important, and we'll come back to that. Under disposition only, we remove the declaration of trust. We need to know what your future use of the property will be, and what you plan to do with any proceeds from any sale. So those are things that we will look for in any disposition. So we don't remove the declaration of trust when it's just a demolition. So a PHA's objective in using Section 18 is usually to preserve their assets through repositioning. So in other words, if they want to rehab the building, they can do that using tax credits and then possibly project-based back into the sites. Or they can dispose of it on the open market, taking those proceeds and moving those to another site if they want to, possibly building either tax credit properties with tenant protection vouchers or project-based vouchers or some other thing. They can also exit the public housing.
So you're saying if a PHA had 20 units that they removed through Section 18, they might be able to project-base those same units and preserve those exact same units with a TPV voucher?
Yes. Interesting. Yes. So, and we'll get into a lot more detail into what the justifications for how you get into Section 18. But yes, a small housing authority with 20 units could possibly do that and exit the program. So I'm going to quickly go through what is the application requirements, and then we'll go into a lot more detail about the justifications, et cetera. So we do require for every application that you do a HUD 52860, and this is a removal application form. You can find it on our website at hud.gov/SAC, SAC. You do have to tell us your justification. Is it obsolete? Is it Do you have only less than 50 units in your housing authority? Then you can, that's one justification. Is it scattered sites? Is it more efficient and effective housing? And we'll go into detail on all of those. But you need to tell us upfront what those justifications are. You need to have an environmental review on all of your property. You need to have it needs to be in your PHA plan. That has to be submitted and approved by a field office. You have to consult with your residents. And so in that resident consultation, we're going to look for, and we want you to send us any notice that you gave the residents, your agendas, any sign-in sheets, all of that has to come back to the SAC. We need that. You need to consult with your local government, tell them what you're planning to do. We would like to get a letter of support from the local mayor or the head of your highest elected official saying that they approve of whatever plan it is you're going to do. And the final thing that you need to get is the board resolution. That's the last thing, and that has to be dated last. After, if you're going to get a letter of support from your mayor, your board resolution has to be dated after the letter of support. So your method of disposition, you need to do, if you're going to do a disposition, it can either be a negotiated sale or it can be at public bid. It can be below fair market value if that's what you choose, as long as there is a commensurate public benefit. And when we say a commensurate public benefit, we mean a commensurate public benefit to the public housing residents. So converting it to a new highway may be a public benefit to the public, not necessarily to public housing residents. So it has to be that the public housing residents have a benefit from it. We also need you to tell us what your proceeds what amount it would be in, and what the use would be. And then we also are looking for your estimate of what the fair market value is. We're going to go into a lot more detail on all of these things. Any tenant relocation information, and all of this is submitted in PIC, and the SAC processes these. So.
Jane, there seems to be a lot there. Is there some place, if someone needed help, is there some place they could go?
So the best place to get help is your field office.
All right.
Yeah, we now have a group of expediters that are spread out across the country in all the field offices that understand this, know this, they know what you're going through, what your property looks like, and they can help you put this together. So it's a lot. We get that. Again, going through Section 18, you are eligible for the tenant protection vouchers, and you are eligible to receive those on any unit that has been occupied within the last 24 months. Now, the SAC will go back and look at exactly what your occupancy is in PIC, and they'll make that determination on the day of approval, not the day of submission. So just so people know that. If it is a public housing only agency, they don't have a partner, again, talk to your field offices, because they know, and they have, they can help you find various other housing choice voucher agencies that could potentially run your program if that's what you want to do. Again, the TPVs will be subject to appropriations, and HUD may establish a priority order if we see it's necessary for the TPVs. At this point, we have more than enough, so we don't see that being an issue. Should something change and that becomes an issue, we may have to establish a priority order.
Is a TPV, is that like a permanent increase in the PHA's voucher portfolio?
So it depends on the PHA, not always. That's not a hard and fast rule across the board. It would be set at voucher rents, which tend to be based on fair market, versus your public housing rents, which is your portion of the operating fund and the capital fund that you get. So it could potentially be higher. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always higher.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's go into the justifications of how to get into Section 18. So under demolition, again, it is just obsolescence. We do have a de minimis factor, which is for 5 units or less, or the lower of 5 units or less, or 5% of the inventory. Housing Authority has the right to just remove those. They need to notify us, they need to do an environmental review, they need a board resolution, but all they need to do is just say to the SAC, we're gonna do that one. We're gonna go ahead and take out these 3 units because they're not helping us and it's costing us too much, whatever. They don't have to justify it at all, they can take them out. That's de minimis. Under demolition, the other one is physical or locational obsolescence. And I'll go into a lot more detail of what that means. Under disposition, again, physical obsolescence, health and safety is a big one. If you've got a property in a flood zone, please come in, get your vouchers. You can sell that. Hopefully your local government has got money, they can buy it from you. Infeasible operation, if you can prove to us that it's just infeasible to continue to operate these units, we'll look at that. Scattered sites, 4 units or less on non-contiguous sites. We will go ahead and allow those to be disposed of today. Non-dwelling property, any excess land, we can do those. We now have what we call a RAD Section 18 repositioning blend, which I'll go into a lot more detail on. More efficient and effective repositioning. This one, if you come in and say, we can really operate this more efficiently under the voucher program, just give us the vouchers, we'll say, fine, we're gonna give you 25% of the vouchers, not 100%. You have to tell us how you're gonna provide those other 75%, because those families still need to be housed. So that is one option. And the last is 50 units or less. If you are a small housing authority with 50 units or less, you can come in today and we'll say, here's your vouchers. You can close out your Section 9 program. So those are the justifications now for Section 18. So I'm going to back up and go through these in a little more detail. Physical condition of the buildings. Under this, you will need a physical needs assessment. The physical needs assessment needs to look at what are the physical needs at the property today and over the next 3 years. So what's wrong with the property currently? Any third-party reports are helpful. We're going to assume that the buildings probably don't meet building codes. We would ask that you look at your local building codes. If there is, in fact, in your local building codes, I know, for instance, in Cook County, they say if the building meets 50% of the assessed value, if you're going to rehab the building, and you're going to put in at least 50% of the assessed value of that property, then the building has to meet code. And that's a big deal because we also know today that most public housing property does not meet code. It was built in a time that the codes were different, and the codes have changed. Now there are fire codes. A lot of the coastal areas now have hurricane codes. There's all kinds of different things. There's ADA codes as well. So we do want housing authorities to look at those and say, if I had to renovate this today and I met that threshold, what else would I have to put in here? Do I have to sprinkle the building? That would make a big difference. So those are the kinds of things that we want to do. We want you to look at. We'll look at cost estimates. Don't come in here and tell us that the roof is going to cost $20,000 when we can go to RS Means and say, yeah, for your neighborhood, it's only $8,000. So check your RS Means cost index, because that's how we're going to look at the costs. And then we're going to compare what your physical needs are against our annually published total development costs. If they are, for a non-elevator building, 57.14% of the TDC cost, that meets obsolescence. If it's an elevator building, it has to be 62.5%. Okay, we will not take into consideration anything more than 5 feet from the building, such things as repaving a parking lot, putting in a new playground for the kids. Those are not costs that we would consider as part of the SAC application.
Where could I find, if I was interested in this, where could I find the TDCs?
Those are on the HUD website. I think if you actually Google HUD TDC, you probably will get them.
All right.
And they're updated annually, so you can look and see what it is for, and we do it by area.
Okay.
So I think they're done by MSA or county.
Okay.
So you need to find it for your specific area. So that's physical needs. You know, if your boiler's bad, you're going to have to replace it. We know that. We usually look at the cost to replace the boiler.
Sure.
So those are the things that we look for. Major costs, any kind of structural needs. We had a housing authority that came in, and in fact, their foundations were slipping down a hillside because of all the rains currently. And so those, they got a third-party structural report and found out it was going to cost $20 million to shore up those buildings. They sent us the report, and we said, okay, fine, we can take it out, because
Okay.
that put it well above the TDC cost. So anything like that you can send in, any kind of reports, structural, environmental, you know, if there's, you know, I don't know, if it's in a flood zone, things like that, let us know. So location, again, any kind of serious health or safety risk, we let those go. If it's flooding, contaminated soils, if they built a brand new highway right in front of your building, and now all of a sudden the noise is bad, the air quality is bad. A lot of these are built on Superfund sites. So anything like that, let us know. The PHA cannot cure or mitigate that cost effectively. We allow those to go out. We will, again, require third-party documentation and some kind of an environmental review. We ask that we try to have those properties sold at fair market value. We can take it out, for instance, if a housing authority has a property, when there was one that was located way up in the mountains at an intersection where there was a gas station and a mini mart, and it was for seniors, and they couldn't lease it. And we showed 2 years of vacancies because nobody wanted to live there. So we gave that, so that one, we let them go through.
Okay.
So those are the kinds of things we're looking for location. But we will look at occupancy if that's part of it. De minimis demolition, a little bit more on that. I talked about that earlier. Again, over a 5-year period, the lesser of 5 units or 5% of the overall agency. Space used for residential needs. Our units are beyond repair. No obsolescence is required. HUD approval is not required. However, it is required that you give SAC an application for our PIC recording, so we can keep the PIC up to date and make sure that your operating fund and capital funds are adjusted accordingly. And again, the environmental review is required. Health and safety, conditions in the area, density is an issue. If, we had one come in the other day that was, when they built the units, they were in a nice residential area, and industry had begun to move in and had taken over the whole area around it. So anything that would adversely affect the health or safety of the residents, serious obstacles in maintaining units as healthy and safe. Again, we are looking for third-party documentation. PHA cannot cure or mitigate cost effectively. And again, we would like you to sell it at fair market value if you can. So usually if the neighborhood's changing, that's a good, somebody's interested in buying. Infeasible operation, there's no demand on the location, vacancy issues over an extended period of time. Again, we'd want supportive documentation that shows that population loss in the census tract. There's no waiting list for that bedroom size. We may ask you for a market analysis. Want you to look at that more carefully. Again, if there's a way to sell it at fair market value, and that may be that you have to look to local government to buy it. Is there any, but we would also look at if there's any way to maybe mitigate those issues. Is there something in the market or whatever? Okay, scattered site units. So these are our favorites, right? Again, non-contiguous, 4 units or fewer. Again, we'd want you to show that they are unsustainable to operate or to maintain. You must have a relocation plan, which could be that you're going to leave the residents in place, that they're going to stay with their PVVs and you're going to run it through a nonprofit as project base, but you need to tell us what's going to happen. If you're going to sell these in the open market and families are moving in, those residents have to have somewhere to go, and you need to prove to us that you have the places for them to go. So again, wherever you want to, if you want to sell it at fair market value on the open market, it would generate proceeds. You could sell to a nonprofit again, or you could possibly even look at doing a local home ownership program.
How strict is the 4 or fewer? What if I had 5 units at a site?
We've been staying pretty tight on the 4 and fewer. We're still trying to see what that generates and where those are. And we're fine. I mean, we're really looking, because once you get up into 5 or more, a lot of those can come in under obsolescence. The 4 units really are the single family homes that got scattered around, and a lot of it's hard to get to because of the drive in between them.
Yeah.
And they all have a different boiler system, and keeping parts for those is complicated.
So you mentioned earlier physical needs assessment. Would you need one of those for this type of a removal?
No.
Okay.
No. You do not need physical obsolescence for this. So this and the 50 and under, you do not.
Okay.
And also for the de minimis, you do not. So, right.
All right.
Okay. On the very small PHA, 50 or fewer public housings, again, you're going to have to close out your public housing units. That's a big thing. We want you to close out your Section 9. You have flexibility in how you structure that. You can sell it at fair market value and generate proceeds. If you are a PHA only and do not have a voucher program, that may be problematic, because if you don't have a place to use those proceeds, those come back to the government. So think about that as you're structuring this. You can partner with a related entity, sell it at below fair market values so the units can be used as affordable rental housing, including project-based vouchers. So that's possible. Again, you must have a relocation plan. And if you don't have a voucher agency, talk to your field office. They're your best source of finding another agency to help you.
Sure. I think there was something you mentioned in both this one and the prior, the scattered site, that it seems really appealing. Like you could dispose of the property as public housing, but still maintain it for project-based voucher, so the families would never actually have to leave or anything like that.
Right. Right.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go through that a little more. There's some new provisions within HOTMA that allow public housing agencies to project base existing public housing a little better, so that residents can stay in place with the vouchers.
And if someone needed help discussing their closeout options, I would assume a field office could help with that too, right?
Right. They would be your best source, right? Okay. Okay, RAD Section 18 blend. Again, this was under the RAD program. We had gotten a lot of phone calls early on from a lot of housing authorities that were trying to go through RAD, and they said, we just can't make these numbers work. The rents aren't high enough. Is there any way to boost the rents? Can we get even part vouchers to make it work? So what we're trying here is we'll do 25% Section 18, the other 75 under RAD, you do not have to have a physical needs assessment. You do not have to prove obsolescence. You would apply through the RAD program, so it's fairly simple. To qualify, though, you may not finance the project with 9% tax credits, low-income housing tax credits, and the construction costs must meet 60% of the hard construction cost limits. So if you can meet those two, you can get 25% vouchers, which in a lot of the larger markets means much higher rents. So it's a very helpful thing. So for instance, the example that we have here, 100-unit project, the HCC limit is 160, it's the hard construction cost limit is 160,000 per unit. So the minimum construction cost has to be 96,000 per unit. They would do 75% RAD, or 75 units as RAD, 25% units as Section 8 TPVs, and they would use 4% tax credits and bonds or private financing. And a lot of these deals are working a lot better now, so we're very excited. We're seeing a lot, and we know that they've been pretty successful so far. We've seen several of them completed now.
And I think you mentioned this earlier, you just apply through RAD, like a normal RAD application?
Right.
You
Right.
don't have to do anything else special?
Nope. And so the SAC will actually go into the RAD desk and pull the documents out of your RAD application, create the Section 18 application. We'll send you a letter that says these units are being pulled out, and this will be there'll be separate DDAs. You'll have separate HAP contracts, which is a big difference. So you're going to have two HAP contracts, one for the RAD portion and one for the Section 18. Now, RAD, you can do PBRA or project-based vouchers. Under the Section 18, you can only do project-based vouchers. So that's a difference. But that's something that if you've got a pretty healthy voucher program, that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Right.
And the final justification is more efficient and effective units. And this basically says that a housing authority says, we can more effectively operate and manage these units in a different format, either on or off-site. We can renovate them and bring in tax credits, or we can build new off-site. But they don't meet, it doesn't meet obsolescence. It's not 50 and under. It doesn't meet the scattered site or any of the other justifications. So we'll still allow you to do that. But the big note on this one again is you would only receive 25% of the occupied units. Okay, so if you have 100 units, we would only give you 25 TPVs, and you have to figure out how you're going to house those other 75 families. And that we have to have that there, okay? Again, no obsolescence test, so that's the beauty of this one. So, and you would have to, the PHA has to determine the number of replacement units. So, for example, a fully occupied 40-unit project located in an undesirable area and in need of rehab, but does not meet the standard obsolescence test. PHA proposes to sell the land and use the proceeds to build elsewhere. The PHA would be eligible for 10 TPVs, 25% if all units are occupied, along with the 4% credit. If the PHA only proposes to build a 20-unit mixed income property, 10 could be Section 8 project-based, 10 would be standard tax credit units, but they still have to house the other 30 families. They have to figure out how to do that. So, non-dwelling properties. A lot of PHAs over the years have administration buildings, have child care facilities, they have community rooms, lots of different things, as long as it's incidental and does not interfere with the continued operation of the remaining portion of the project. Send us an application. We're happy to take those out, if that's of any help. Okay. So disposition does mean sale. It means there has to be a change in title. You have to have a change on the title report that goes, the title that's actually recorded with the Recorder of Deeds office. And we want it to go to a separate legal entity under state law. So it can still be within PHA control, that you can create a nonprofit. They can create an instrumentality, doesn't matter to us in this. And you can also sell on the open market. You can negotiate a sale at fair market value. You can negotiate a sale at below fair market value as long as there's a commensurate public benefit. And we're going to go into more detail on commensurate public benefit. It can be a sale or it can be a ground lease that is recorded. Okay,
So if a PHA had an existing like nonprofit subsidiary or some other kind of subsidiary where the board was the exact same board as the PHA board, but it was a separate entity under state law, does that qualify?
that would qualify.
All right.
As long as I can go to the Secretary of State and see that there are two separate entities.
All right.
Right, so that's important. Okay, commensurate public benefit. So this is something that, it sounds like it would be easy, right? Commensurate public benefit, can't it just be towards the benefit of the public? So couldn't we build a park? No. Unless that park is there to serve public housing residents. So we've done this, and what we'll look at is, and we will put a use restriction on there that says this will be for the benefit and support of families earning at or below 80% of area median income. So it can be a park, as long as we know that that park possibly even has programming for public housing residents. So it can be whatever it is, as long as we know that. And we will put a use restriction on the property, and it's generally for 30 years. But we are going to look. So if you come to us and say, well, they want to build this roadway. Well, that's not really a commensurate public benefit to the residents, unless, now we've done it for transit because we know the Transit Authority has said, okay, we'll take some of this land, in exchange we'll give a discount for families to ride on the transit. So those are kinds of things that we want to look for under commensurate public benefit, and we will ask for and hope that housing authorities are willing to go back and try to get something for their residents in exchange for valuable assets, as we see it.
Okay. But what if you sold at fair market value, right? Then
If it's sold at fair market value, you have the cash, and that we would attach some restrictions on the proceeds, and those would also remain for the benefit of public housing residents. Now, it can go for supportive services, or it can go into building new housing for.
But there would be no use restriction, I would assume, then, on the land, right?
No. At fair market value, it's gone.
All right.
Right. So we look at that very carefully. How do we value the properties? We talk about fair market value. We would like to see a third-party appraiser come in and give us exactly what the fair market value is. Now, if you're selling it at a below fair market value, we would be willing to look at something like a tax assessor opinion or an alternative method of valuation. But typically, if you're going to sell it at fair market value, you want to know, and you're going to want a third party. Now, if you're selling this into the private market and the person you're selling it to says, you know what, I don't think your appraisal's right, they may want to go out and get their own. And in which case, you may have to get a third appraiser to look at both appraisals and come back and say, based on both appraisals, this is what the value is. But we really encourage you to get the third-party appraisal, especially if you're going to go at fair market value. And we don't encourage it, we require it. So And proceeds, again. Eligible uses are for relocation and closing costs, modernization and development of public housing, as you would use any cap fund money. Operations of public housing, also as you would use any operating fund money. You can use proceeds for RAD. You can use it in a RAD transaction. You can also use it to modernize or develop any project-based voucher units. And you can use it for Section 8 housing assistance payment shortages if you get permission from HUD. For any use of public proceeds, you need SAC approval. So if you know when you make the application for Section 18 and you know what you want to use those proceeds for, please tell us. We can put that in your approval letter. If not, we will say it's not approved. Your use of proceeds are not approved at this time. Come back to us when you know. And then it's just an amendment, and I'll go through an amendment process. But we do want you to tell us what you want to use those for. The time between when you receive the proceeds and when you expend them, it needs to go into a general depository agreement under a HUD 51999. Okay. You want to talk about resident consultation? You want to do that one?
I'll let you, Jamie.
Okay.
Expert here.
All right. So under resident consultation, this one we're kind of sticklers on this, and we want you to talk to the residents of the developments, any groups of residents of the developments that are there, groups representing all residents of the PHA, or a resident advisory board, if that's what you have. Find a resident to talk to. They exist, and we do need you to talk to them and document it. You know, if you call a meeting, send us the notice, send us your agenda, send us a sign-in sheet, anything that proves that you've actually met with residents. We're not very accepting of you coming in and saying, I'm sorry, we don't have any residents. Because if you've got units and they're occupied, you have residents. So figure that out. And any comments that the residents give you in writing, please send those on to us. And so we would like you to send those on to us, and then any response that you've given to residents, please give us as well. We do want to know what those conversations are and what the issues are that the residents are raising. So relocation, I'm going to go through that real quickly. It is governed by Section 18 and 24 CFR Part 970. It is not subject to uniform relocation under Section 18. So it's a little bit different. You must require all residents comparable housing. So you can offer them other public housing, you can offer them a Section 8 voucher or a project-based voucher, but you have to offer them at least something. You must give a 90-day notice, so don't come in and tell us we're going to relocate all these residents in 20 days, because you've got a 90-day notice up front. So if that's the case, it would really be 110 days. So, but make sure, because we will make a note in your approval letter for how many days for relocation. So we won't make it any less than 90 days. We do ask that you give them counseling and advising services. You must pay the actual and reasonable moving costs. So any security and utility deposits, et cetera, that's all something the Housing Authority pays as part of the relocation. You must comply with fair housing. If a resident needs accessible units, they should be given accessible units. And again, you can't begin relocation until the 90-day notice is issued with HUD approval. And you cannot complete or you cannot begin demolition or complete disposition until all the residents have been relocated. So please make sure and do that.
I think you had mentioned earlier, right, that a PHA is going to get a voucher for anybody any unit that is occupied in the
Right.
last 24 months. So is it enough to just give everyone a voucher and say, here you go, good luck?
No, you have to give them counseling, and you have to be able to help them find reasonable housing. I mean, you don't have to go to the full extent of of URA, but you do have to give them some services, some advising services on where they can look and what they can find. And if they can't find you have to think long and hard. If they're not going to be able to find housing in your community, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we should know that up front, and maybe that's something we should think about as you reposition
Sure.
this property.
And I would imagine that would be something they could budget for, right, with their public housing funds and use those for relocation.
Yes, yep, yes, those are allowable expenses under the operating fund too.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. So comparable housing resources, again, they can be other public housing units. So they can be moved off-site to other public housing units, or if you're doing this in phases, they can be moved even around on the current site as you need them to. You can move them to project-based Section 8 units, or they get the Section 8 vouchers, and they can move anywhere as long as the landlords will take them. So, okay. So any public housing only PHA, so this is a public housing agency that does not have a housing choice voucher program. They are eligible to apply under Section 8 demolition or disposition. They will be provided tenant protection vouchers for their families, but they must find a partner who will administer that program for them, because we will not allow them to open a new program. And that's complicated. Again, talk to your field office. The new housing choice voucher agency that's coming in to administer that program must have jurisdiction in that area. So don't go find a friend 3 states over. They have to, go to your local county. Maybe there's a state agency. Your field office can help you find them. But that's really important. In terms of the impact on your public housing funds, so the PHA can spend capital funds and operating funds on units under ACC, including those proposed or approved for removal, but they may not spend any operating or capital funds once the units have been removed from the ACC. Once you're removing them from the ACC and once they're removed from inventory and PIC, those are no longer public housing units. Statutorily, we cannot spend money on those public housing funds on those units any longer. So there's a hard stop on the day that title changes hands. So know that. There is an operating fund phase down. If you have other public housing at the time, you can use that asset repositioning fee and the demolition and disposition transitioning fee. So those are all, the asset repositioning fee is triggered by the start of relocation, and DDTF is triggered by when the units go into removal from inventory and PIC. And those stay with the housing authority as long as they have uses for them. If they are closing out their program, they cannot take those funds. So,
If they needed help, again, if they were getting these funds and they just wanted to know what kind of eligible uses they have, I would assume a field office could also help them go
Right.
through what the eligible uses are, so they're making
Exactly.
sure they're staying compliant.
that's right. It's up to they should talk to your field office again, because they will know exactly who and what you can use those for. Okay, so the SAC processes all Section 18 applications. Your local field office can provide technical assistance in helping you put them together. They will confirm that you did an environmental review and that the PHA plan requirements have been met. And they will also assist the SAC in reviewing the Section 8 applications as needed. Note that we will also share all of this information with the Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Division within HUD. They do a full civil rights compliance review on every application. I want to make sure that that no one's going to get hurt, their civil rights are hurt as a part of this action. So we do have them look at it and make sure that there's nothing else that the SAC should be aware of. So we do talk to each other.
Okay.
Okay. So after we've approved it, when you've received a letter and it says you've been approved now to remove these units, whether under demolition or disposition, the PHA is now responsible to apply for the tenant protection vouchers. The SAC letter will tell you how many you would be eligible for, and it also outlines the process. But you need to go in and apply for those vouchers and take those down, and you apply through your local field office. Again, you're going to relocate your residence, provide all updates on relocation to your field office to make sure we keep our operating fund accurate. The field office is going to have to do the release of the deed of trust. You may want to get with them early on because it's something they have to draft and put together, and they need to understand exactly what it is you are disposing of, which means a legal description, a PIN. If we know that up front, we can put it in the letter from the SAC. If not, you're going to have to get that quickly and get it over to your field office so they can include that in the deed of trust release. You're going to be responsible for preparing any use agreements. If this is a below fair market transaction, you're going to work on that with your local field office. If there is a use restriction, and figure out what that needs to go in that, or you're going to have to deposit any proceeds into your GDA, HUD 51999. You must request that the property be removed from PIC within 7 days of any demolition or disposition. With a demolition, we want you to come in within 7 days when you've paid the final payment to the contractor. For the demolition, disposition, you should come in within 7 days of closing. So if it's demolition and you've hired a contractor and you give him his last payment, within 7 days of that last payment, you need to notify your field office that the demolition is complete. There will be other conditions as outlined in the SAC letter. You need to make sure you make sure you meet those conditions. If there's any changes at all to the SAC letter, particularly anything material, what you'll need to do is ask for an amendment, and we'll go into more detail about that, but essentially that's sending an email, send a formal letter, write it out on your letterhead, get a board approval for it, send it into the SAC through sacta@hud.gov, and I'll give you more details on that. But it's a fairly simple process, and we will do those amendments. Your local field office is going to be required to help you with your TPVs. So you should contact them and they can help you with that. They have to do the release of the DOT and approving any use agreements. And then they will also approve property for removal of inventory status in PIC. So they have to be the ones that actually go into PIC and take the property out, which is why you need to tell them within 7 days. Okay. You want to do the closeout?
Sure. So you'd mentioned this a few times earlier,
Right.
But public housing closeout is it's generally going to happen as PHAs remove units in general, and then I think you'd mentioned it's required in cases where a PHA is using the 50 and under reason for removing the unit. So I'm assuming that's the last 50 units, right? So it's
Right.
anything below 50 units,
Right.
there's a requirement to close out.
Right.
And it's so, we have some guidance out on how the closeout works. It's optional, I think, for all other removals, right? And PHAs, you mentioned earlier too, that under Section 18, they retain faircloth authority, so
Right.
they're able to still redevelop public housing. So they don't always have to develop, or they don't always have to close out, but
Right.
they can. And in cases where they take that 50 and under, they have to. And we have two notices that cover this. There's really two closeout options. One is they could transfer or consolidate, right? So there's a notice, 2014-24, and that goes through the requirements for a PHA that decides to do that route. So they're taking their public housing program and they're saying they're not going to develop any new units, but they're going to send it to somebody else who may develop new units
Right.
or use it to just enhance their own public housing program. And there's another notice that deals really with ACC termination. It says here on the slide it's 2016-23, but we actually just updated that. The new notice is 2019-13.
That's right.
And,
We'll have to update that, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes through really all the options that a PHA has. It outlines what they need to submit to HUD in order to formally terminate the ACC. And that's really important. It doesn't mean that the PHA itself is going away. All it means is that they're not maintaining a contract with HUD to run a public housing program anymore. And so it shouldn't mean that the PHA has to worry about shuttering its doors. Right. That's a local decision. This is really just an issue of that contract with HUD. And just because it's a federal program, we have to make sure that they go through that process to terminate that contract.
Right. So let me go back. Voluntary transfer, what does that mean versus a consolidation?
Well, so under all of these, we're saying basically you have to close out your public housing program.
Right.
And with a transfer or consolidation, you're closing it out by taking the program and giving it to somebody else. So you
Right.
would no longer have a public housing program there.
Right.
But
And there may be value to that, because if you've got DDTF or ARF coming in,
Yep.
they may be able to use that even to help keep your units.
Yes, and if you have any leftover, any resources really, right? So the thing to keep in mind with a transfer consolidation is it's everything, though. It's assets and liabilities.
Yeah.
But it is any assets that you have, right? So any faircloth authority, any public housing funds that you still have, any equipment, public housing equipment, all of that can be maintained at the local level and transferred to another PHA. Again, following this notice, the field office would be able to help
Right.
understand some of those requirements.
Right.
I think it's important to note as well that the notice, the requirements get pretty easy once you have no public housing ACC units anymore, right? So it's
Under a consolidation, maybe 5 housing authorities could get together and create a new entity to consolidate all 5.
Yes, exactly. And if you had a PHA that didn't have a public housing program, you could consolidate with a PHA that did have a public housing program and use that to establish a public housing program. All of
Right.
that's okay. And again, the field office can help with that. And this notice, the new notice that we have that deals with ACC terminations and closeouts, is really a good place to start to understand more about that.
Great, yeah. So they're all good options, and it seems to me like any housing authority might want to look at that and talk to their neighbors about what else is out there.
Yep. And again, the field office can help. One thing to note here is we will ask, we have a HUD, it's a 5837, and it's a really simple form. It just really outlines what the PHA's plans are, so it's their formal way of telling HUD, I'm going to develop new units, I'm going to transfer, or I'm going to terminate my ACC. And you can still change your mind, but we want the PHA's to submit that, so at least they're thinking about it when they submit their final PIC application.
Yeah, and that's important, because that has to be part of the Section 18 application as well, if you're going to do the 50 and under. So, okay. So, that was a lot of information.
Yes.
None of it's easy. And what's the best place to go if you need help?
Your local field
Field
office
office.
should really be able to help with a lot of this stuff. And we understand, right, like that the application is complicated. We've been talking a lot about resident relocation, which can be tricky, and the field office can really provide some technical assistance there.
That's right. So we do have additional resources, which we've outlined here. We will update this list for what goes on the website. Make sure we have all the most the most up-to-date on all these notices. The required closeout here is the 2019-13, so we are up to date on this one. So note that it's there. So I think, call your local field office. I think that's a great resource.